Three, two, one. Hey, Internet friends. This is MagicBrad with Synergy Cafe and the Synergy Collaborative, and now the rebranded The MagicBrad Show. And I've got a guest on, and her name is Jothi Dugar. Did I pronounce it right?
That is absolutely perfect.
Close. Okay. You never know unless your name is like John Smith or Sue Nelson. It's hard to these days. My last name is pronounced is spelled G-U-D-I-M, is Goodum. When I say it, they say, oh, G-O-O-D-U-M. No. And then if I spell it, if I say it, then they go G-U-D-I-U-M. They get it all screwed up. So I just go with MagicBrad.
That sounds a lot easier.
Yes. So what part of the world are you in?
I'm in Virginia. It's really beautiful, hot and sticky, but still beautiful.
I've been through there. Like do the Appalachian Mountains go that far?
Yeah. So I'm in Great Falls, so it's a lot. It's about like 300 acres of just pure greenery. So it's like an oasis in the middle of the city, which is what I love.
We spent a couple of years in Asheville, North Carolina, and then we drive up to New York so we could go through all that area. It's just beautiful, that East Coast. It's amazing with the hills and the mountains and stuff.
Yep. That's how it is here. It's like one-lane roads, and you got to watch out for deer and raccoons and beavers.
Well, I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota, so we've got that thing going on too with the deer and the coyotes, and it's kind of weird.
Foxes. Yep.
So you married and got kids and all that kind of stuff, or are you single and looking, or?
I would say I wish, but no, I love my kids. No, I have 3 kids. If my husband might be listening to this, so I have to, put in some good words.
Absolutely, yes.
But I
get it.
I was single.
I don't have any kids. My wife's got one, and when we first got together, it was like, "You're not my dad," that kind of thing, going this. And then as he grew up, all of a sudden he's wonderful. We get along great. So.
Yeah. Mine are 3, so they're 3, 6, and 9. So they're still at that stage, like, "Mommy, look at this. Mommy, look at that. Mommy, can we come to the bathroom with you? Mommy." I'm like,
"Oh, sure. Mommy, look. Mommy, look. Mommy, look." But it's fun, right? Seeing them grow up and change.
That was my dream. It was when I was 5 years old, I kind of set my dream that I'm going to move to specifically this area, Virginia, Great Falls, even though I don't really know much about it, but I somehow just thought, I'm going to move here, I'm going to have 3 kids and 2 dogs, and I'm going to work for the government. And I didn't really know what I was going to do for the government, but somehow I just knew that, this is what I'm going to do. By the time I'm 40, I'm going to be at this level. And that was that. And that's pretty much exactly what happened.
Well, it's pretty amazing what can happen when you hold a vision in your mind and then you just stick with it and focus. That's part of my challenge, is my vision of focus. I've got what I call entrepreneurial ADD, where I'm always looking at different projects and stuff. If you can stay focused, it's pretty miraculous what you can manifest,
Yeah, and it's staying focused, but not getting ODD about it, or OCD, not ODD.
Being open to how it happens. You never know.
Yeah, and not stressing out about it, because I think I just set that vision and kind of just forgot about it for a while, and then I actually turned 40 last year, and I thought about, like, hey, you know what? All my entire vision came true. So now what do I do?
Pretty much, they say, be careful what you ask for, because you will get it, right?
I got to make another vision for the next 10 years.
That's like goal setting kind of thing. I understand. My wife is going through that stuff right now, setting goals and things. I've always been challenged with goal setting. I even bought a book that was called Living Without a Goal, because I'm an implementer. When I want something, I just go for it. And to me, it's more like algebra. You figure out what you want, and then you put the things in place to get to it.
Right.
Makes sense.
Well, hopefully your wife is the dreamer and you're the implementer. So
it is kind of that way. She's a shaman, and so she does some dream work and stuff with her clients, because she's a coach and things. And sometimes when we're talking, I have to ask, are you talking about the dream world right now, or did this actually happen?
That's
So let's talk a
true.
little bit about what you do. Now, you said you worked for the government, but looking in your bio and things, looks like you get into some naturopathic type or natural things. And I saw the word tsunami. That I've seen pictures of tsunamis, so that's pretty significant. Whatever you're referring to there.
So I call myself the chaos guru. And I actually teach people how to identify, not be afraid of things, not push chaos and stress away, but actually, once you're able to identify the different types of chaos surrounding you on a daily basis, you might actually lean towards inviting that chaos in. And not think of it as such a bad thing that you just constantly have to get rid of or push away or ignore or avoid. Part of
Have you heard of D. Hock? That name ring a bell? D. Hock?
No.
I think he came up with a principle called the chaotic principle, where it's chaos and organization, because that's kind of what happens is sometimes stuff falls apart and then it comes back together. So you got to be able to ride the wave through that tsunami of everything falling apart, realizing that someday it's going to be a beautiful beach again, right?
Yeah, it's happening for a reason. So I coined the term tsunami chaos because that's the kind of chaos that, if you look at how a tsunami forms, it's usually never a situation where it just something randomly, just the way the ocean starts acting crazy. There's always a trigger. And usually the trigger is like an earthquake or some sort of really huge shift underneath the ocean, or if there's a volcano nearby, if you're in Hawaii, then that can cause a tsunami. So there's usually always some sort of trigger at the root of the ocean, which then causes the ocean to act a little funny for a period of time. You know, maybe the water's like receding back, or it's just kind of acting really weird. And if you don't heed to those triggers and the immediate effect, then that's when it comes like rushing to towards the shore and wiping everything out its way. So that same thing happens to our bodies too, in our minds, our mind, body, and energy connection. So if we don't start to understand the trigger and what's causing that initial gut reaction, and we don't start to solve those problems within us, then we're just going to start reacting totally unproportional to the trigger. Somebody says something and then you just like lash out at them because we haven't spent the time that's needed to look at those triggers and actually solve these within us before we just kind of randomly abrupt and wipe everyone else in our path.
Now, those things can kind of cumulatively happen, which brings on like a cumulative stress, if you know what I mean. And stress, I've had a situation, because I'm super, super healthy, and I had a business situation where it was kind of stressful in the office, but you don't recognize it because you're strong and you're dealing with it, but it's accumulating. It's sort of like that tsunami starting to build up and you don't even realize it. So you kind of need to know how to diffuse that a little bit. Is that
so? So the fact that you're actually observant enough to notice it accumulating, it seems like you are. A lot of people aren't even observing, because a lot of people are most people, I would say, are just kind of walking around, not really aware of even what they're conscious about. You're kind of, in a daze, and you're just like walking around, you're doing your thing, you're taking care of your kids, you're doing your work, and we're not really in tune with what's actually going on in our bodies. So I teach the good, the bad, and the ugly, or the tsunami chaos, the riptide chaos, and the surfer chaos. So the riptide chaos is this kind of energetic forces around you that you don't even know, you don't realize exist, that's actually affecting you on a daily basis. So these are things like energy profiling. So let's say I'm an energy type 1. I am supposed to wear light clothes that are like fun, that no specific pattern, like bright colors that really bring out the energy from you. Now, if I start I used to actually wear tons of black, brown, really dark colors and just like heavy clothing. And I used to always wonder, like, why do I feel so tired all the time? I have like no energy. I was like, I was never really a medication fan. So I used to just take a ton of vitamins and supplements, and I still felt tired until I started learning, well, the energy of your clothes, the energy of your hairstyle, your makeup, all of that actually plays a bigger role in your whole energetic system than you may realize. So once I started changing all that, I felt better. I felt more authentic to myself. Just started showing up as a different person. My energy started coming back to me. So that's what I call the Riptide chaos. And if you aren't really keenly aware of the different things that are affecting you, then this is kind of like the unneeded chaos that you're just adding to yourself. That really, it's simple, easy fixes that you can do to release that chaos from your system.
So those are little subtleties that are so subtle you don't really notice them, but they're, so like you said, a riptide, is that kind of the tide that pulls you out into the ocean, right?
Yes. So, and you don't notice it because it's not
right.
obvious where you see a riptide in the ocean. So you just kind of like, strolling along and you're swimming, and then suddenly you start going in circles and it just like pushes you way out. Now, if we can start identifying, the water's kind of acting a little weird in that area, and you start identifying like, oh, I think that there's like a riptide going on, then you tend to not go that direction and go somewhere else.
Sure.
So there's so many different factors. There's Ayurvedic body types. Like if you're eating certain foods that really just aren't meant for your body type. And it could be healthy foods too. A lot of people make this mistake of thinking, oh, I'm eating like really healthy. I'm eating like, broccoli and carrots and all these vegetables, but we don't really know if those vegetables are good for your body.
Right.
Just because they're vegetables does not mean that everyone should just eat every vegetable there is. There's actually a science behind, your own unique body, what's good for you based on your body type. There's certain exercises that are good for you that may not be good for somebody else. And it could be perfectly good exercises. You might be doing squats, but maybe really intensive exercise isn't good for your body. Maybe you need like more of the yoga and Tai Chi.
Like my wife isn't like a runner, exercise, weightlifting kind of person. And then she was a vegetarian for a while, and she realized that she needs meat. She's got to have meat in her system, and she does like to do like milder yoga. But that's kind of interesting how you're talking about how the clothes you wear and all those subtleties, because a person could, like, you get on these fad diets and you see these commercials that are saying this is what you should do, and you start doing it and it's not working. It's because your body's it's not right for you.
Yeah, like I personally myself don't go to the gym. I don't spend 2 hours a day trying to exercise. I do yoga a little bit, meditation, and I actually incorporate 5 minutes of some sort of movement throughout the day. So I take about 5 minutes out of every hour, and I just kind of, find a way to move. Maybe I'm like walking back and forth in my room, or I just do some leg lifts. And that's really what got me to start releasing all of my baby weight. Like I did not have to go. It's actually counterproductive. So if you're just kind of sitting on your bum for 10 hours a day, and then suddenly you just go and exercise for 1 or 2 hours and expect that, oh, I'm exercising, it's great. It's what you do most that counts. So if the 23 hours a day you're either sitting or lying down, and then 1 or 2 hours to go to the gym, then you may feel like you're doing a great job, but eventually, as you talked about, the cumulative effect, as you start getting older, you'll start realizing like, this isn't really, it's not panning out the way I thought. And it's hard to keep up too. Like if you force yourself to go to the gym 1 or 2 hours a day, it's really hard to keep that up on an ongoing basis.
Well, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And if you do force yourself in, like, I don't enjoy going to the gym. I do martial arts and I like being in a class environment. But as far as me being disciplined enough to go in and do my reps and do my runs and do my this and do my that, I just don't like it. I like to just be in the class and do what the instructor says. It's so much easier for me. So it depends on the person's what they're into. I don't think you need to go with this diet and this exercise program because that's the fad. You need to analyze it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And some of the diets might actually not be good for your body type. Like I tried intermittent fasting and it just wreaked havoc in my body. And I was wondering, why did I even try this? It took me like 3 months to recover from trying something for, 4 days. So yeah, so you really have to, so what I teach in my transformational program is all of these things, like what is good for your body? What are all the different types of chaos that's going on with you? And then we customize the program based on your results. And we really take people through start to finish. So if you're feeling like really tired and you can't find your purpose or just overwhelmed and stressed, little by little, and we'll start taking you through that program. So you start identifying how you're sabotaging yourself so we can teach you how to resolve things. So by the end of the program, you feel great. You're not just surviving in life, you're actually thriving. And you know what to do to keep going too.
And it sounds like you sort of customize the things to the individuals, which makes total sense because like they're not having it this year, but the Minnesota State Fair over here, it's like the second largest, probably the largest other than Texas. State Fair, they're not doing it because of the COVID thing, but I'd go to the fair and I'd see thousands and thousands and thousands of people and they all look different. So how could you possibly think that, one exercise program or one diet is going to fit 1,000 people? It's going to be different for every individual, don't you think?
There's a framework that we apply that is common with everyone. The framework can be common, but then
Sure.
What you need individually is definitely customized.
Yeah, we've all got 2 arms and 2 legs and a head and 2 eyes, but we all look differently. So it sounds like you can kind of, when someone comes to you and says, I've got this situation, you can kind of analyze it and see, well, first off, you shouldn't be wearing that sweater.
Yeah, and it's just amazing because just little things that people can do make such a huge difference. And we teach about neuroplasticity in your brain as well. And just simple exercises can actually start rewiring your brain. So you stop getting triggered by that coworker of yours or your spouse or your mom or your dad. And it just works super fast. So, a lot of folks out there that I've experienced myself, you have to do, they make it sound like, okay, you have to, first of all, find a calm place where you can relax and do this 45-minute meditation. Well, if you look at my life, I'm a cyber leader, I'm an entrepreneur, I have my own programs going on, I'm a dance director, I have 3 kids. I really don't have time to, wait till I get home first and then find a quiet place and then give myself 45 minutes, do my meditation. And then what happens when you get out of the meditation, you walk out the room and you have 3 kids like coming at you.
Right.
How much is that meditation really going to help at that moment? So, what I teach is actually in the moment techniques and outside of the moment techniques to really rewire your brain so it no longer triggers you. So if you think about the tsunami effect again, if that trigger wasn't there, or if the ocean, or if it triggers like, you're able to minimize the 7.8 earthquake to like a 1.2, the tsunami might not be that bad. It might just be a little, like a 3-foot wave coming through instead of a 30-foot wave coming through.
I've noticed that situation kind of, I feel I'm pretty intuitive, but driving along, and if I'm in a hurry to get somewhere because I'm going to be late, I think, and there's someone in front of me that, why are they going so slow? Or this person that's, waiting at the stop sign, they should be moving. For some reason, the universe is telling me, slow down, dude. So just being aware of that rather than being triggered and getting mad and having road rage, maybe just take some time at that red light and breathe and do a little 20-second meditation.
Yeah, and that's actually all it takes. It's actually more powerful to incorporate these types of wellness techniques throughout the day, just like the exercise tips that I was talking about. And so the more, it's what you do most that counts. And same goes with the wellness techniques that are out there. So just like exercise, if 23 hours a day you're just angry, you're pissed off at life and at other people, and then you spend 1 hour meditating, okay, maybe during that hour you might feel like you're a saint, but then you're going to come out of that meditation and not know how to handle the real world, and things are still going to continue triggering you unless you've really built your muscles to balance your state. But for most, they, I would say for 99.9% of the people, they probably are not there yet. Versus if you just learn quick techniques that you can do on the fly. Oh, somebody just cut me off. Okay, what if I just told you, oh, you know what, I can give you a 20-second technique you can do to focus on something else. So this thought kind of just dissipates, and you can keep your eyes open while you're driving. So that would be a much better way, a faster, more efficient way of getting yourself back to that equilibrium.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense too, because when you think about that 20-minute or that 1 hour yoga session or 20-minute meditation, that consists of minutes that break into seconds. And maybe if you just did multiple little seconds, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. That's it, just a little bit, right?
Yeah, and not everyone. I mean, there are some folks that are headed in that direction. Very on the spiritual route where that's what they want to do all day is meditate, and that's great. Like that's good for them. But for the rest of us, it's not really. It's not a necessity that we all try to do that. So any little things that we can do throughout the day, so that the equilibrium effect of all these parts put together, it still, it has that cumulative effect. So by the time you, even while you're sleeping, you can do certain exercises, or before you sleep, you can set certain intentions before you sleep. And your wife does dream work. So dream work, you're still processing things in your dreams. So it's almost like you're never in a state of just not doing anything. You're doing things during the day. You're doing things at so it's that cumulative effect that's really going to help.
We're always active. So what types of people come to see you? Is it primarily female or primarily male or single or married, or is it younger generation, or is there any specific group of people that you're focused on?
Sure. So I don't discriminate. So when I first started, I was told you had to choose an ideal client, and it was like, oh, it's male, female, this age, that group, this kind of job front. And I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to focus on the pain point. So what I focus on are people that have gone so I do corporate programs. I also do individual programs. So for the individual program, it is, if you're a working professional and you have leadership qualities, or emerging leader, or you're already a leader, and you are just tired, you're burnt out, you're overwhelmed, you're not really quite sure where life is leading you. You just kind of want to get back into not just, you're kind of like in survival mode, and you're just losing hope. Then it really helps them through easy mind, body, energy techniques, where we really start rewiring their brain, and incorporate like energy healing, as well as other modalities as well, to get them from that state to not just this calm, peaceful state, which everyone thinks is the end goal. To me, that's just goal number one. But to eventually get them to a state of just thriving in life, and that's the surfer chaos, where you're anticipating the chaos because you want to ride those waves, and know the right thing to do. At the corporate level, we bring in transformational wellness programs to the corporate setting. And the way we're different is we go deep. We're not afraid to take it deep, and through and we bring in mind, body, energy principles to the workforce. Because what I found was when you leave it up to someone to take care of their wellness outside of work, while they're actually working like 8 to 10 hours a day, 40, 50, 60 hours weeks, they just don't make the time to do that. And it's not, even if they do, they're not consistent. They don't take
They're not focused.
They're not focused. They might not even understand the importance of it. So we bring it to the workplace environment. We work with executives, leadership, and emerging leaders as well to really show them how to take care of themselves and have them transformed, and then they can then help their teams and their staff transform as well.
Got it. So if someone listened to this and they think, that's interesting, I want to work with Jothi, how do they get a hold of you? And do you have some kind of like introductory program, or do you have a book or something, or a download or something they can kind of, because people don't like just jump into stuff. They like to kind of dip their toe in the water and see, is this the right thing for me? So how do they connect with you?
Yeah, all of the above. So if you just go to my current website, which is www.jothidugar.com, jothidugar.com. There's tons of free resources out there for chaos management guides. I have some I call it quick and dirty meditation techniques that you could actually do with your eyes open. Anywhere, anytime. There's different mind, body, energy techniques, rewiring techniques, just to kind of give you a taste of the different things that you might not even know exist. There's also, if you're interested in looking into corporate wellness programs that really are very different than the norm, feel free to book an epiphany call. You can do that as an individual as well if you really wanted to see if this is for you. I can guarantee just in the call itself, you'll start realizing things about you that you probably didn't even know existed before.
Did you call it an epiphany call?
Yes, I call it the
I love it.
call.
Where they have that.
Yeah, and it's really, I mean, I work with a variety of different kinds of people. Some are actual coaches themselves, and they feel like, oh, I already know everything. And during the call, they start figuring things out. And like, okay, I didn't think this was a bad thing. I'm like, well, there's nothing bad, but there's a reason why you do it this way. And I've been there, done that myself. So I've gone through a lot of trauma in my own life. I've gotten through those, and now I understand why they had to happen in a certain way to make me who I am today.
Yeah, I think it's really important that a person has sort of I would say a third entity like yourself to participate, because if I sit and I'm talking with myself and I'm going, okay, I know this and I know that, and I'm going to get this book and I'm going to read this book, because when you read a book, you're reading it from your own perspective of what the book is. So you need somebody from the outside that's going to kind of give you a little bit of, have you ever thought about this? And then they have that epiphany. All of a sudden, I didn't think about that, because they're in their own self-talk. They got to get out of it.
And we go deep. We're not gonna hold anything back. We're gonna call out any subconscious blocks, because really that is what we need to do to start slowly rewiring how your subconscious and your conscious brain works. And we provide very deep support. Because who wants to do another online course that's a couple $100s that you don't take seriously? You just buy it. The first week you're super excited about doing it, and then after that it kind of, oh, I forgot to do it this week. I forgot to do it next week, and then just kind of, then you just kind of forget about it.
I hear you there. You do have to go deep and get the root, whatever the thing is that's down in there. My wife does a lot of that kind of stuff with the whole shamanic work, is getting down to the root cause of what the heck's going on and work on that. And then you don't have those issues anymore. So,
yeah.
Well, Jothi, I really appreciate you taking the time. If you want to stay on, we can have a conversation after. But other than that, I'm going to put this one in the can and beam it up to the universe and see if we can get someone to find it. Yeah. So now we know how to find you. I like that this is the way you do it. You go to my website. It's pretty simple, because some people go, oh, you send my email, call me on the phone. They have too many things. Just one thing.
It's one thing. Go to their website. There's a ton of information. Book a call or just download some freebies. It's all there for you.
Okay. All right, Jothi. Thank you very much. Thank you. Peace.
Thank you for having me.